joining the CAG chat with the Citizens for Accountability and Governance. I am LaVon Reedy Thomas, your co-host, facilitator, advocate for Curtis County and the state of Maryland. We are a group of residents of Prince George's County who have lived experiences in every aspect of life. And we want to help our fellow neighbors here and across the state to become more involved, engaged, and cognizant of what's happening in government. So, uh, we're excited to be before you one more time. Whenever you're watching this, we are greatly appreciative. We have about 600 plus views on one of our shows, and that makes us very excited. And so we know that we are doing something well. Um, I have a disclaimer. None of us are attorneys, legal professionals, paralegals, none of that. But what we do know how to do is read, listen, ask questions, find answers that we like to bring to you all. All of the information that we share is in public record. Either we had to ask for it or necklace. Sorry, Sean. And by the way, it is Valentine's Night, and so we love y'all. Right? We, in the spirit of the day, whether you agree with it, disagree, love is universal. Love is 365 days a year. So we love y'all for giving us this platform and encouraging us. So no, we ain't booed up tonight. We just hanging out with y'all 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. So we switched things up a little bit. We were doing like hit and miss and all of that. So as we are revamping our production, thanks to Sherman Hardy, who has been leading the charge on our technical side, we are going to be bringing you all a little bit more structured programming, but we want to keep our flavor as well. So we're not going to get too stuffy on y'all. We just want to make sure that we are hitting those things that we need to hit in ways that they need to be hit, especially as we're moving towards the May 14th primary election. May 14th primary election. And I'm going to come back with my news of the day after I throw it over to Derek Holmes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Derek Holmesley, and I just want to say that from 1990 to 2000, upon graduating from college, I ran on what was considered now the professional track and field scene, but during my time, it was called the circuit, and we didn't get paid as much as they're getting paid now. But I want to recognize a young gentleman named Kelvin Kiptum. He is the world record holder in the marathon from Kenya, and he was killed, unfortunately, in a car accident last week, and he was poised to run against the number 2 in the world, I forget his name, in Paris in the Olympics, and have a showdown where they hope that the world record would be broken again. So I just wanted to mention Kelvin. While running on the circuit, we meet athletes from all walks of life and from all different countries. And despite you competing against each other, you do form friendships and bonds. So I just wanted to recognize that young man, Kelvin Kipton, 24 years old, killed in a car accident last year, and the world record holder in the marathon. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. And next on the agenda is Donna Young.
Good evening, everyone. If you guys have been watching our chats, you know we talked about influential African Americans that were in our lives. And I indicated that there was one that was a bit unusual, but he was an inspiration and helped me, and that was Marion Barry. Well, I just wanted you guys to know that the 45th year of the MBSYEP youth and host applications are now open. So, for those of you who want summer jobs, they are now open for you to apply. They open actually January 22nd, but they close March the 6th. So for those of you who would like summer jobs in the DC, I think it's only for DC. In DC, apply. It got me started. Thank you.
Lisa, the Prince George's County Summer Youth Enrichment Program is also open for applications. You can go to the Prince George's County website, just search SYEP, and all of that information is there. I don't know all of the details anymore because I think things have changed since COVID. But yeah, we might have some jobs in Prince George's County too. All right. So I'm gonna go. I'll go next. I'll toss to Tanya because she's leading the discussion tonight. So my headline news is from Friday when former Governor Larry Hogan announced that he was running for the U.S. Senate seat to represent Maryland. Now he's a Republican, and he's two Democrats. In 2014, he beat Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown, and in 2018, he beat Ben Jealous, who's of various backgrounds of organizational relations. We'll put it like that. And so this is interesting because a lot of folks have jumped out in support of Angela Alsobrooks, seated county executive of Prince George's County. A lot of, leading Democrats in the state wanted to put their support behind her because she's Black and she's a woman. Wasn't about policy. Wasn't about how she has delivered services on the issues that matter to Prince Georgians. And now people are pushing her to represent the entire state of Maryland, which has a vast array of issues from the DC line to the Eastern Shore, from Northern Maryland, Western Maryland, down to Southern Maryland. And so, I've been supporting Trone, and I'm going to keep supporting Trone because Trone is the best candidate who can win the general election. This is my support. I don't know how everybody else feels, but we need to be focused on that Capitol building. We cannot afford to let Mitch McConnell, Donald, 45, and Hogan destroy or make worse democracy. That's what it's about. We have to maintain our seat in the Senate. And so as we go forward, I'll be probably dropping some love, for my Trone campaign folk and educating you all on some of the topics. It's about who's going to look out for everybody, not just on, okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. So I'm going to toss it over to Tanya because y'all know when I get into my political bag, I don't know how to.
I know. You look, I follow right behind you like that. First, before we get into our discussion, I just wanted to bring up now, I have submitted a number of articles from Maryland Matters to print that I thought were important to citizens dealing with corruption, dealing with how they should vote. and really important things. But I just find it lately what they've been publishing. Now, this is what they, and I understand it's Valentine's Day, but to me, this is definitely a miss to spend all this space to publish an article talking about Maryland political power couples. And I'm sorry, there's a couple in here that I really don't understand why. And that would be Shayla Adams Stafford, District 4 board member, who submitted invoices in the amount of $36,000 that were fraudulent. I don't understand how we are promoting her in this type of space, knowing that there was something sent to Maryland Matters that gave legitimate information about misappropriation of um, school funds that could have gone to the classroom, could have been repurposed someplace else. So I would just like to see Maryland Matters, stop missing on these and print stuff that matters. Okay, with that, let's now talk about the school budget. So, let's see, Sherman, oh, okay, awesome. Now, our school budget, remember, we have one more hearing left, y'all. And that hearing actually is scheduled tomorrow. So if you haven't signed up to speak, give some information about what's happening with the school budget. One other thing I wanted to, because I was looking at the school policy, and one of the things that it said about public participation is that after we give comments, that the board chair should give us a written response about our comments. Oh, I mean, that's been in the policy for over a decade. How many of y'all got a response from the chair? No, no, none, none. And you're definitely not going to get it from this chair because she's too busy dialing my number and texting me to leave messages for Edward Burrows. So, you know, what can we say? Oops. Maybe you just ought to delete my number. That may help you. Okay. Sure, well, let's get back to our budget. So, tomorrow is the last day. There's no limit on the number of people that can sign up for a hearing, and that's in the policy. In the hearing, you could come on that day and not have signed up ahead of time and just raise your hand in the meeting and say you want to discuss the or testify on the budget. Okay, so first thing that I want to share on the budget, and is it everybody's it up? First thing we want to talk about is the oh, we talked about the dates. We want to talk about the things that are it's still things we are thought are really important that you really want to focus on. On page 28, again, I checked today to see if there was maybe an update of the budget, and is that showing? It would be nice if they let the public know what these grants are, what these grants were any of them had anything to do with programs that were actively being used in the school. We just really need to know some information about why we are losing so much, because we can see that there is a big difference here versus if you look in the proposed column, that's a big difference or a big drop in grant money. We still didn't get a response, even though we made some comments. We haven't gotten any response. And I looked at the questions that were being asked by board members, nothing to explain why there is a decrease with the transportation budget.
Has such a decrease in number of drivers. You're right, that's true.
Out there qualify. And that's what we don't want to get into, having to speculate why something is. After my understanding is the senior staff just got raises, so I'm just trying to figure out why is there another increase for 2025. So we need to be asking that question. I went back to see if they corrected this page on page 75 of the budget, and so that we could get a clearer picture about what's happening with the charter schools. And this is what they still have on the website. We still have that page filled with all of these formula errors. So we really don't know how to really testify on this area if you're concerned about the charter schools. And of course, I did see a question from a board member questioning about this additional almost 1 million extra dollars to bring on a chief of communications. And you can see that they're going to be categorized as a associate superintendent. And we're talking about a salary of $244,000. And this is for stuff that we've already done for years.
Why are they so worthy of so much more money? What is it about their credentials that justifies that? Is there not a measurement? I mean, how many people internal to the administration have gone without raises?
Because that makes, to me, it makes no sense. Now, here's our core group that's always been here, always have given us great programming for the school system. So I have no problem with that group, but adding the first one that I showed you, and then adding, oops, let me go back, adding this media office group. I just think it's just too much. This one down here, the media office. Of this year, so they won't be of any part of the 2025 budget. So they need to go ahead and remove money for those positions. This one, we're trying to figure out what that one is, because that's just an extra one. And then finally, we want to know about this Office of Integrity and Compliance. Now, there's no dollar amount attached to this other than what the state law says that
Mm-hmm.
so we need to ask that question, where are we going to get $2 million when we're talking about cutting staff? We're talking about cutting programs. We're saying we don't know how we're going to finish paying for the blueprint, but we're going to put this office in. And the other thing that's really crazy, it is the county council telling the school system what they have to pay in their budget and doing their day-to-day activities. Because everything that the internal office does, this office actually does. And of course, if you read the bill that was sponsored by Alonzo Washington, they just made up a bunch of garbage. And yes, I'm saying the word garbage and put it in the bill to try to make it seem like these are distinctly different. They're not. This is just simply Edward Burrows using the OIG report to try to get control over the board. He still wants his hand in the board, even though he's over in the council, being in, and now he has a lot. This mess to Edward Burrows. He is not a leader for us at all. Okay. I think that was, yeah, that was it for my report. Anybody got any comments?
You know, I did have something that I wanted to say about that because pretty much uh, when we look at the purpose of what this bill is intended to do, it's supposed to create some a compliance department. But when the OIG or not when OIG, when the bill was first created, you know, when the bill inextricably said that, you know, there's already a department that's doing this and they just don't have certain, you know, functions or certain powers that goes along with it. It's pretty much the same thing as what we already have. If the General Assembly wanted to strengthen Prince George's County, instead of you know, throwing 2 million at this department, they should have put that over at the Department of Ethics and then extended their rights and responsibilities, or actually advocated for Inspector General. Because as we see from the report that was done by the Office of Legislative Affairs, they determined that there were schools who didn't even know what to do with the funding for the Maryland Blueprint. So they wasted taxpayer dollars, your dollars that you work hard for. You know, they wasted those funds and then some of them didn't even use them, you know, and then others appropriate them differently, you know. So it's more than Prince George's County. If you want to strengthen Maryland, then you should have made that Maryland wide, not just target Prince George's County. And that's the same thing that Madam Teresa Dudley mentioned when she testified in 2019 about that. She said, you know, this is targeting Prince George's County, and you know, we're completely forgetting about the rest of, you know, the state of Maryland. And as we see, the rest of the state of Maryland have issues too. But you know, I beg I have to say this. It's not just the school system that needs an integrity and compliance officer. It is a lot of departments within our county. It is a lot of departments in other counties. As we see, a lot of our elected officials and the administrations and departments in which they are responsible for helping us as people, they're mismanaging funds and programs and so many things. And it's a shame. It's a shame because we always wonder what's happening with our funds and why these programs aren't working. It's bureaucracy and it's also mismanagement. And something has to be done. The people really need to start paying attention because they never think about it until they have to actually use these programs.
You know what, Sherman, I just want to add on something to there too, because when you're talking about strengthening um in certain departments like the integrity department, and there is all actually a OIG office for the state board of education. They could have done some strengthening there.
Mhm.
Not only that, if you wanted to make sure that people are not wasting money, well, let's look at the dismissal of the appeal that our group just filed based on the OI on the those project labor agreements. Now, they dismissed our appeal because they said the State Board of Education cannot make a determination if a local board violates their own ethic policies. Well, if you want to make sure that there's no money being stolen, then give them that jurisdiction at the state board level. They could have done that and it wouldn't have cost anything. You're just giving them the power that is already in that board that's sitting there. So this whole bill, and let's just get serious too about the other thing that they do. They tell us that based in the law, if we find that there was something inappropriate done in making a decision on a board action, on a local board action, they tell us to appeal it. They tell us all we have to do is show that it's unreasonable, it's illegal, it's arbitrary. That's what they tell us to do. So we go out and we give you all the evidence that it is. And then what does the state board come back and do? They make up a different argument. That's not even what we brought up. And then either they'll say, oh, we don't have jurisdiction, or you don't really have standing because you don't show any financial injury. So we're trying to do these things. So again, like what you're saying, if you're serious about it, our state legislators, if you're serious about it, take out all of these loopholes that you have in the law so that we cannot redress our government when they have done something wrong. Because right now you got all these little loopholes in here. Nothing in the law tells us anything that when we file an appeal, we got to show standing. You don't tell us that. You just tell us these are the things we got to show. And we show them, and then you pull your little magic rabbit out of the hat, calling it precedence. We're tired of this. These are games that you're playing, and these games are costing our students millions of dollars. And I agree, it's not just in Prince George's County.
Tanya, also, one of the things that is frustrating for me, Comar gives you guidelines for how contracts, grants, etc., are to be distributed. And one of the things people keep ignoring, fair and open competition. We can't have fair and open competition when we have board members going, making these little side deals and hustling for each other campaign. It has nothing to do with the fact that if we do not have fair and open competition, we are almost guaranteed 100% to overpay, to go over budget, which we continuously do, and then come back and somehow get additional funding. So yes, we're in conflict with our own regulations, with our state and federal. And if any of that money is coming from our federal government, why aren't they getting involved?
Legislators, here's another thing you can do. For the reporting of local boards, have them report the percentage of new money that they received has actually gone to classrooms. Everything that is close to the child, show that money has been used for teacher salaries, teachers education, for buying supplies for students, making sure that they have working copiers, making sure that the speech pathologists don't have to sign out equipment. And I mean, this sign out system is crazy. So they should have to be able to start showing what percentage of that new money that they received is actually going toward the actual servicing of students.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because this black hole, all this money, all new money, every time we get new money, we see all these bonuses going at Sasser, new salaries at Sassers, new furniture at Sasser. It's time to stop.
Do we have an org chart for the school system? Have you ever seen one?
We did. We had an org chart, and it hasn't been for years because I took that org chart and I showed, especially at Sasser, right before Maxwell took over. And I took that org chart and went down that org chart because Maxwell vowed to decrease the number of people over in Sasser. And so that money could go back in the school system. And I went every single position listed and identified all of the new ones and how many had increased. Well, I haven't seen another org chart since that year. Now, what was that time when Maxwell? Yeah,
like a condensed org chart that they put inside the budget. But here's another good point. When you start looking at those, because they used to give you the positions in the budget, that budget used to be like almost 1,000 pages. Now we're down to like 300 pages because they used to give you full descriptions. But now I think when we started doing those comparisons, and I was like how we just showed a few weeks ago, I'm looking at the description for these 3 different positions, and they're all the same, basically.
exactly the same.
You may have changed an adjective here or there, but they're all the same.
Well, it's no longer available on the website.
All right. Can I go, Sherman?
Yeah.
All right. My issue is with the term integrity, or is it called an integrity officer, Tanya? We submitted information to the school board's ethic panel. The ethic panel found they found what we reported as sound evident. I believe that information was involved with the OIG report and things of that nature, and that ethic getting, from what I understand, threatening emails, calls, because they did what they were, hired to do or appointed to do. And now we're talking about an integrity officer over the school system. Is that person someone who's going to have integrity? Because if they find something that is not upon board or up to standard, and their integrity has them to report it as it should be reported, are they then going to be threatened to hide people's illegitimate contracting and sidebar deals with schools' money that's supposed to benefit our children? So for me, and I'm not trying to speak disrespectfully, I'm speaking truthfully, an integrity officer is just a band-aid for y'all to look like you're doing something. If you're going to do that, make sure that that person has the wherewithal and the authority to affect their duties the way it's supposed to be done, and not have any fallout and any threats towards them. Why have one if you're not going to do it right?
But they were already doing it, Derek. They were already doing it. The ethic panel did it. Remember, you had a group that was doing it. They did the investigation. They went out, they hired extra legal
Right.
help
Right.
to complete this investigation. They validated, they got evidence, they did requests for information. They did everything that this Office of Integrity would do. There's
Absolutely.
nothing different that this office is not going to do. The
And my point,
difference
right.
is the council is doing the oversight. The council, who now we're questioning about, what is it, $14 million that has been just given out all
Right.
willy-nilly. But they're the ones who's going to question somebody's integrity.
Exactly.
Somebody who's going to get who was requested to produce documents, just like he was requested to give information when he was a board member, and he ignored the OIG. He ignored
Right.
her request. But you are going to now push to have something written, talk about integrity, so we don't have to worry about waste of money. And here we have organizations that have given money, and you're trying to say, well, what recreational things did you do?
So the way the budget process typically works with the school system is that the school system presents its draft to the county executive reviews it, they ask questions, they throw it back. And if I'm staggering, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't do nothing about it. So if you want me to be quiet, tell me to be quiet. And then the school system goes back, fixes it, addresses whatever questions, then sends it back to the county executive. The county executive then presents the full draft budget of the government, every single agency, to the council. The council gets to review it. Now, what I've been told is that they don't get line for line items on the school system budget, right? So they don't like that. So what happens is, once the budget is approved, it goes back to PGCPS, and PGCPS never has to discuss its expenditures again. And that's what this council doesn't like. They want to have a day-to-day say in how money is spent. Now, do I agree? I think the school system should function as an agency like every other agency. People say, well, it's too much money for the government. Well, the county executive, whether it's a seated board, whether it's a appointed board or not, historically, the county executive has still had influence on what happens in the school system if they chose to have it. So I'd much rather it be a legally defined relationship than a let's have added relationship where people are writing contracts that don't go through the process, And so that's what's so scary about what this person on the council is doing. It's like he's trying to create this pocket of resources in the name of education, and I'm trying to figure out who will benefit from it.
Right.
What is the end goal? If you take the MGM money and you make it all about education, which I presented that report, and I don't see a problem with the organizations that have been funded in the past. If you're trying to put money in education through the Maryland Park and Planning, what is it called, project reimbursement project charge that didn't nobody know about until now. If you're trying to put this integrity person who's a spy in the school system, what are you gonna do with it? What happens if I, as the integrity person, who I report to the council, or do I report to the county executive? That right there is a big issue for me because I don't know that they have any authority over the day-to-day operations of the school system. My understanding is that they have strictly audit and investigation authority. They can question, pull, challenge anything that any agency does. And that's my thing. Then my last question becomes, what's the law that's going to have to change to give teeth to this with the council? Because there's got to be a law. There's got to be a law that's going to have to be introduced, a resolution, amendment, something that they're going to need down the road.
Yeah, but there's a a good point that you bring up. There is a law in there's language in Comer that is clear about who is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the school system. So that includes that investigate because the superintendent is the secretary and the treasurer of the school system of the board. So they have that fiduciary responsibility of making sure all this stuff is in place, and that things are properly investigated. they have that responsibility. It's already stated in the law. So even with this integrity office, it conflicts with that. It is a conflict with that.
Right.
So Mr. House is now supposed to answer to this guy. And what
Right.
about the ethic panel? There's statute in Comar for the ethic panel. That's what board policy 0107 is all about. Everything that the law says about what the ethic panel is supposed to do. It's clear. The board members are supposed to submit their financial statements to the ethic panel. There is supposed to be a record of all the a keeper of all the records. When we make requests to see anybody's financial report, it shouldn't be a request sent to the board chair. Heck no. It's supposed to go to the ethic panel and the person who they have designated to be the keeper of the records. When we do PIA requests, I was shocked when I was told they're waiting to get for Shipley Horn to send back the document I request. Why? That document should have been in the hands of the person who is designated to be the record keeper. We shouldn't, that's exposing us and invading our privacy because it's going to the chair. You don't think the chair and Shipley Horn didn't meet and say, well, hey, why Tanya Hagerbrook Tanya Wingfield, that's my maiden name, y'all. Why is Tanya Wingfield, a citizen of accountability, asking for this information? They should not have even known.
And Tanya, you have to go one step further. Even our ethics panel, when we send a complaint into the ethics panel, how does it get to spread through the organization, the board? There are levels. If you send something to the ethics panel and they review it and find it valid, then they're supposed to take what actions recommendations that they're supposed to do. But what we also have is people interacting. They report at least they used to report directly to the superintendent, ethics panel in the school system. They were off a branch. Now we haven't seen the org chart in a minute. At least I haven't.
Right.
But they were off a branch to reporting directly to the CEO. That information shouldn't be going to everybody and lottie-dottie to try to figure out how they can manipulate or change that or
Well, Donna, think about this. Our complaint that went on the hotline, we did 2 complaints. We did a complaint that Shipley Horn was acting in violation of the attorney code of conduct because they are representing a position that is contrary to what the board has taken in a court or in a court matter. And then we brought up the payment of those bills. Now, my understanding is that they took the complaint went to the ethic panel and internal audits. They said it was valid. So then they have to notify the people who it involves. That involved the board chair and Shayla Adams Stafford. I haven't heard, that was filed in October. Do you think the board chair is letting that out? And the chair picks the members that are on the ethic panel. Now, of course, the board gets the vote, but I don't think that should be, because we have too much corruption in our board now for them to be able to pick these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
their findings if they feel like it's going to be some blowback. We couldn't even get them to come on our podcast to talk about it. I don't want to ruffle no feathers. Well, why are you on the ethic panel? People, your heart got to stop pumping Kool-Aid, y'all. You got to do what you're supposed to do and be bold in
it. You have to have the spine.
Here's some more stuff. State legislators, here's some more stuff you can tighten up on.
Right.
It's just it's not going to cost you nothing. Like that song said, don't cost you nothing. All you got to do, change some language. That's all you got to do. Change some language.
Yeah, quite honestly, I mean, when you look at it, it's just the fact of the matter is a lot of legislation that we pass doesn't have teeth to it. And there's the way
Exactly.
to enforce it. Sometimes there's no funding. It's just a lot of things that goes along with some of the bills that we passed, or most bills that we passed, that kind of render people, I don't want to say useless, but not as effective as they could be.
Because
Like
you're patronizing people.
yeah,
It makes it seem like they're giving us something.
Filing all these appeals. Well, yeah, you know what? We're going to keep filing them. We are. Until you understand, don't tell us that we have a Maryland Constitution and in there's an article that tells us we have the right to redress our government, and then you write laws that will subvert that. So we can't do it. And then want to try to make it look like they just like suing
We're
us.
troublemakers. We're
Exactly.
hecklers.
We're
Yeah.
hecklers. What
Yeah.
is wrong with our capacity? Our capacity is wrong. So, but no, we see through what is being done. The laws are being used to manipulate and to undermine the common people from redressing their government and making sure wrongs are corrected.
well, if you think about the intersectionality of that, I mean, it happens in other forms and in other ways. Whenever something doesn't initially pass, they go back and they chip away at it. That's how abortion rights were chipped away. That's how the Affordable Care Act was chipped away. Even on our local level, there's things that they've been working on or implementing to do, such as the a lot of the pilot programs that we're doing now, that they become permanent. So sometimes you just have to be on guard and understand what it is somebody's actually telling you.
Right, like the 10-cent bag fee, and now all the council members are giving out bags. I knew I was going to get that in there.
But the fact that, LaVon, I'm sorry, since you brought
Right,
it up, it's not like we even get the revenue for it.
right. So we're spending money to enforce it. Not
And we still and we still got all this stuff in plastic. When you buy your toilet paper in the big bags, what is it in? Plastic.
Well, my
When you
hopes is
buy
that one day we will
napkins,
rid ourselves of plastic altogether. So hopefully we'll find an alternative. But right now, that's what we have. You're absolutely right.
yeah.
There's plastic everywhere, and even inside your cookware. I've done many studies about the water in Prince George's County, and because of some of my hard efforts, we actually had a fish and food advisory in Prince George's County about the seafood. Because of Andrews and 3M and a lot of people other the PFAS that we have in the county. So yeah, plastic is everywhere. And that a topic for another day is how corporations and the rich and powerful, how they set policy and provide it to a lot of the agencies, to our elected officials, to the EPA, the health department, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just a cycle, and we have to be a little more cognizant. Sometimes it's not much we can do, but the little pieces and the little components that we have the ability to do, I think we should do it.
Yeah.
right. It's the lobbyists. The
Yeah.
lobbyists are looking out for their interests, not the interests of people. And let's just face it, federal government has become lazy on research and regulation.
Mhm.
So if we can't even get, as you posted about, you share somebody's post, Sherman, that the IHOPs are filthy. Well, that ain't nothing new. I hate to say it. IHOPs have always been problematic. But when people are saying plates are dirty, this is wrong, well, the health department, the last time I inquired, does not do random inspections. They don't have a rotation on going into restaurants. As many of you who follow me know that I have a pet peeve about handicapped accessible bathroom stalls. And I have filed complaint after complaint after complaint because if I'm in a wheelchair, how do I get into a stall that's leaning off of the wall and I can't lock the door. Well, that's a health department matter. Health departments don't go out and inspect bathrooms. They don't just go out and inspect kitchens. I went to a restaurant and the blinds had so much dust on it. I was like, do y'all ever clean it? So we want to spend all of this money on paper trackers.
But before we even go that far into it, we have to get the basics right in our county first.
Right.
To not have a health department that has the ability or is going out and doing inspections on, on a lot of the restaurants. I mean, the fire department, they go and do checks for the fire systems, don't they?
Well,
And this is
I mean,
you, I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but I choose to believe that that's what we're doing, so that's what's taking place. But not only that, but permitting or whomever, they don't have the capacity. But I feel like that's where government should be. That's where it should be operating, should be working for the people. Because, I too have been gone to a restaurant, and that's why I wanted to talk to someone at the health department to see if there's a policy change that we could implement. Because a part of being healthy is having restaurants that are up to par. You know, when we talk about, all the chicken joints in the county, that's kind of what we're breeding when we allow, stuff like this to fester.
well,
But
I was
even
told that they come out when there's a grievance. When a complaint is made, that's when they go out. That's what I
I
was
believe
told.
that because even in our county building, going in Wayne Carey bathroom after you've been in the pool. And I take my own disinfectant now, my own bathroom. I have to clean the bathroom, and it's these little net things that are flying around. So I have to, spray, it gives me, I have to do too much just to take a shower after I go to the pool to exercise. That shouldn't be. And the amount of dirt that would stay in that bathroom if I didn't take my stuff spraying down the tiles, spraying the handles, the floor, and all of that. It's it makes no sense. It makes no sense. If somebody's gonna have to get hurt because the way the water doesn't come out, doesn't roll. It comes out of the shower, but doesn't really drain properly in a lot of areas. You know,
Oh, that's
I
nasty.
know.
Well,
But
we
look,
hope not. County council, let's figure out exactly what we can do on the local level, or if you have to partner with your state counterparts in order
mhm.
to make sure that we have a healthy and safe Prince George's County. Because
absolutely,
a
Yeah.
lot of these departments do need to do a no knock, no notice on some of our establishments in Prince George's
You
absolutely.
County.
know
Thank you
what?
so
I'm gonna
much
tell you. You
for
know who would
listening.
get in trouble? You know who would really go to one, and I'm not gonna name the place, but they make good chicken. But you go go to one of their places, you're gonna see crumbs, chicken, everything all over
See,
the
see,
place.
that's why.
Uh,
$14 million would probably go a long way on some kind of initiative to put a workforce out to do some random, what do you know, no knock inspections. I'm sure
hmm
Yeah.
Really,
just gotta get past these bogus fraternalizing, crony positions, whatever you want to call them, with people who don't produce anything. It's enough. It's enough.
having integrity goes a long way. And
Look,
if
They
you
need
want
to
to do
put
the
that
right
word
thing,
up.
they could do some funding so it doesn't take a person 7 months to get their property perked. There's a lot
hmm,
that they could do better.
Hmm.
So we were going to also talk about the judicial review. Friday is the day we have the final hearing. So let's talk a little bit about what that judicial review was. Um, in 2021, we filed some complaints in regards to misconduct of board members. It was fully investigated, and results were given, and I had to go under oath and say, hey, I'm swearing that this happened and here's the evidence. Now, these individuals that these complaints were brought against, what after the investigation, of course, they didn't come to their hearings. They saw, they heard about all the stuff that was written about them, and instead of coming to their hearings to rebut what was in the reports, they went to the media and told the media about it. And so, of course, the state board, after the local board sent their request to have these board members removed, the state board basically sat on it for some months. So some people got to leave the board. One got promoted to the council. And so there are 3 board members left. And we are challenging the state board's decision to dismiss the local board's decision. Now, the state board, when they made the decision, they did it based on evidence that they went out and got. The state board is supposed to be neutral in this, and they're only supposed to make a decision based on information submitted to them. Nothing, just like the people didn't respond to the ethic panel when it was at the local board level, they didn't respond to the state either. And so we filed the judicial review because we felt that the state board, one, it was our original claim. We're the ones who filed the complaint. So we are party to the situation. It's just that during that part where the local board does the investigation, we're not really, our names doesn't show up in there. But we challenged the decision. So Friday will be the final decision. One of the things that had been filed was a motion for reconsideration, and it was based on it could be done fraud, an error, and or some type of thing that we say was not regular in that process of that hearing. And so I got notice today from the judge. He denied it. And the motion for reconsideration was done because I had made sure that we had filed a response to Shipley Horn as to why Shipley Horn could not be there because they were representing a position contrary to what the local board requested. There's a state law that says attorneys can't do that. You can't represent the same client with 2 different claims. And so I had filed this on our behalf, but the judge said he didn't see it in the docket. He didn't see that it had been filed. Well, I have the electronic access to the full docket now. There was no way he could not have seen it. Document was sitting right there. All he had to do was click. Yeah, all he had to do was click. So, yeah, all he had to do was click. It was sitting right there for him to click. And it definitely said, petitioner's response to respondent's opposition for motion to disqualify. It's right there, single click. So our position was, you now have prejudiced our case because you did not look at that document that had pertinent information. So again, that has been denied. There are some other motions that we are waiting to see how the judge has ruled on them. One is for Dr. Juanita Miller. She has requested to be party with us as petitioners. And so we're going to see if the judge grants that motion. We'll probably see that Friday. And so Friday we will next Wednesday we'll be able to give you a report as to whether or not we prevailed. Levon, unless somebody had questions.
Nope, we just gonna hope and believe and pray and have faith that Friday will be what we want it to be, because we ain't stopping.
We ain't heckling.
I know that's right.
We ain't heckling. Hecklers. And our mental capacity, I look, I know we are all sane.
Yeah, we are.
Absolutely.
Somebody told a judge they didn't understand our mental capacity or mine. That's what he told the judge.
We don't understand his.
Yeah. Yes.
And we're gonna
Well,
leave
you
it
know,
there. And Sherman, you got it.
We
no
understand
problem.
his mental capacity. We don't understand his ethical capacity.
Yes,
That's what we
yes.
don't understand.
Well, with that said, guys, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in and those who are going to catch us a little later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us as we impart on this journey to make sure that you, the people, we, the people, are aware and cognizant of what's going on in our government and, and monitoring those who actually govern us, which is our elected officials. Tonight, I want to leave you with a quote. It is by W.E.B. Du Bois, and it says, "Men must not only know, they must act." And today, I just want to say if there's anybody who go ahead and say that on behalf of everyone here, we definitely appreciate. Let me go ahead and get us all up there. I just want to say, with that being said, on behalf of everyone here, thank you so much for joining us at tonight at CAG Chat. We hope that we've inspired you to take action and speak up. When you see something that needs accountability, remember, in all thy getting, get an understanding. Good night and stay informed.
Amen.
Right.